This is a ninja. That's a ninja. American ninjas. A ninja mad at his barber. A ninja robot that's somehow malnourished. A ninja who doesn't believe in gravity or physics. A ninja in a suit with a giant fan somewhere in the background. Ninjas are everywhere these days, and they're cool as shit. But growing up in the 90s with a VCR and access to VHS movies from the 80s gave me a specific, different idea as to what a ninja was. To me, ninjas were really just henchmen, immoral, a dime a dozen cannon fodder, or more poignantly, just straight up bitch assness. Yeah, bitch assness sounds right. They weren't one-man armies tanking entire rival armies like we see in more contemporary times. They really didn't start coming up until a certain kid with blue eyes and blonde hair, but somehow inexplicably Asian, showed up on the pop culture scene. After him, ninjas were cool, could be seen as heroes, regardless of the Joes, the Dudikoffs, the Turtles, or those three ninja kids who came way before him. Ninjas are cool, unique, and amazing now. So with the intro out of the way, I knocked 3 games off the backlog. 3 games all about ninjas. Let's see what they're about. Ganryu 2 is a sequel to a 20-plus-year-old game that no one asked for, or was even thinking about. But someone out there felt we needed this game. Our guy Musashi is a ninja for sure. As mismatched as his clothing is, he's a ninja, and a high-level one too. Not a single piece of armor on him. All offense, no defense. To be honest, I'm not a fan of his character design, but I can see my 10-year-old self being a fan of it. He looks like 90s era Mortal Kombat fan art. Mix that in with his spaced out, coked out gaze, and it makes for a very aesthetically displeasing protagonist. Just the look in his eyes will make any person think that he fights demons just to support his habit. Now, along with Musashi's less than fortunate design, the game itself is not much to look at either. Enemies and bosses look like they jumped right out of Macintosh Kid pics. Now, I know that's a stretch, but more realistically, it's cleaned up high-res PS1 Saturn era sprite work. Think DBZ Ultimate Battle 22, but highly upscaled. But for the look that Ganryu 2 is pushing, I would have appreciated a CRT scanline filter at least. Now look, I know I've dumped on this game a lot so far, but I actually enjoyed my time with it. The fun for me came from the sharpening my skills, getting better and better with each section, the constant failing and figuring things out, memorizing enemy placement, item placement, and boss patterns. I know a lot of people claim this game to be hard, and I get it. It's hard, but not hard at the same time. It's the type of difficulty that once you get through it, you're laughing, and you're just able to fly through it the second time around. No different than when people figured out Bloodborne or Sekiro, and somehow managed to do no-death playthroughs on those games. So Ganryu 2 is packed with 5 levels, and each level is divided into 2 parts, Act 1 and Act 2, with a boss at the end. There are checkpoints sparingly sprinkled about that sometimes make it easier, but the overall goal is to make it to the boss with as little mistakes as possible along the way, and as many lives as possible. You start off with 3, but up to 7 additional 1-up bonuses are hidden around the stages, along with maximum health increases. You pretty much have to slice and dice every wall and every candle to find them all. Now, if you do happen to lose a life, the recently acquired 1-ups, they respawn, so some sections can provide infinite attempts until you get the section mastered. Now, along with 1-ups, there's also a magic meter that you build up from defeating enemies or slashing at candles. There's screen clearing magic, power-up magic, and healing magic. But honestly, outside of healing magic, every other magic technique is just pointless. The healing magic just comes in clutch after you made too many mistakes in a level and your life's hanging by a thread. As for the player mechanics, this iteration of Musashi is bare bones. Hack and slash, throw some kunai, dash attack that trades damage randomly, a double jump, and a wall jump. That's it. That's all you get. There's no discernible exploits or meta to this game. At most, you get a few iframes after taking a hit and then using that to speed past some spikes or other stage obstacles. So Ganryu 2 can be played in 2 ways, for speed, time, and score, or straight survival. I chose to survive and just inch my way forward learning and understanding. What adds to the difficulty of the understanding though is that even though this game was released in 2022, there's still a bunch of bugs and glitches that are a detriment to progress, rather than a positive exploit to make things easier. I've lost runs due to button inputs not being recognized after dashing into an enemy, walls, or even over gaps. Either jumping or dashing again would reset the input block, or I would just have to sacrifice a precious 1-up and force a reset that way. I heard the Switch port was even worse with the bugs and glitches and sluggish frame rate, but I'll let somebody else tell that story. Other than that, I still had fun. Once again, my enjoyment came from the sharpening, the trial and error, that moving forward inch by inch, seeing plays and getting better and better. I would still recommend this game to old school platforming enthusiasts who want a challenge and an unhealthy dose of frustration. Bot Gaiden. This is what you get if Mega Man X4 and Ninja Gaiden 2 went over to international waters and did some very questionable, nasty things to each other. And then afterwards, X4 just peaced out and left Ninja Gaiden to raise the offspring alone. Now, regardless of my crazy analogy, this game looks like a Mega Man X4 spin-off, but plays like a Ninja Gaiden spin-off. You have the robot world like X with robot masters that are just rogue robots messing things up for everybody. And then you have the movement of Ninja Gaiden, the running, the slashing, the wall jumping, and various projectiles. For better or for worse, Bot Gaiden is the result of two iconic worlds coming together. I'm not sure what it is about ninjas in red scarves or just long scarves in general, but without it, at first glance you would just assume our hero, Rob Ryu, is just some worker bot. The scarf is everything. This lean, lanky design that denotes a frailness, maybe even malnourishment or some type of robotic viral infection, is a design that's just not much to look at. But now add in a long scarf-like sash, now he is ninja.
The fuck is that? Looks like a ninja, boss.
For the look of the game, the developers seem to have gone with a comic book aesthetic, inked with a box of high-end Crayola markers. Even though some stage themes are meant to be a more darker locale, the colors still seem to be bright and just pop. Now, Bot Gaiden's world is pretty much a carbon copy of any of the Mega Man X's worlds, except in this world, everyone is some type of robot and everything is some type of robot too. Just look at this poor soul right here. That's it. That's his job, just to hang there. I don't know what it did in a past life to end up like that, but it must have been something terrible. Gameplay-wise, Bot Gaiden is more akin to Ninja Gaiden, but on several types of crack. At the initial stages, you move slow and maneuver somewhat compactly. There's no floatiness to the jumps or wall climbs. The aim of the game is to move through the stages from left to right, sometimes even right to left, taking out each robot master at the end. That's pretty normal and traditional. Now the catch is that this game forces you to be a speedrunner. The aim is to get through the levels and make it to the boss as fast as possible. One of the main reasons being is that at the start of the stage, there's a health meter indicating the boss's health bar. It slowly fills over time, so the longer you take to get to the boss, the more health he'll have. It is possible to fly through the stages in record time, making it to the boss, and only having to deal with him at half health, or even just a quarter health. Rob Ryu isn't given much in terms of ability. Right off the bat, all he has is a jump, a slash, air glide, and wall climb. So in order to get through the stages as fast as possible, there's power-ups throughout the level. Power-ups like turbo speed, double jump, air shuriken, and time freeze. With these power-ups all going at once, the game can turn into a running simulator. The challenge though is that you take one hit, you lose all of your power-ups. That's especially challenging if you make it to the boss with no power-ups. That means end-stage battles become impossible to win. I mentioned earlier that this game forces you to become a speedrunner. This fact became crystal clear for me when I made it all the way to the last stage, but could not even get past the first screen. Essentially, just beating the prior stages is not enough. Depending on the time you beat a stage, you can be awarded with the ability to start stages with certain power-ups instead of having to acquire them throughout the stage. However, the same rules apply. If you take a hit, you lose the power-up, and have to pick it up again somewhere throughout the stage. For example, if you beat stage 1 in under a minute 30, you get the time freeze power-up, which is essential for shaving off a few seconds here and there. So now in order to get the best time, you have to do a bit of planning and routing along with enemy placement memorization. The fastest time for the best items can be achieved, It just takes a lot of trial and error. At the end of the day, regardless of knocking this game off of the backlog, the big question is, was it fun? Yes. Was it hard? Hell yes. Playing for speed and best time is not one of my strongest gamer skills, but I got through it. My only gripe with bot guiding is at times there can be way too much going on screen, which makes it easy to lose track of your character and your route for the best time. Overall, this is one I can recommend. Bot guiding took two distinctive looks and gameplay styles from two great sources of inspiration, fused them together, and made a final product that just works. Shinobi non grata, or for the more culturally inclined, Shinobi not welcomed. This is a game I picked up a year or two ago, sampled a few minutes, made it to the first boss, lost some more, and then just went on with my life. I felt nothing towards the game. More recently, I sat with the game again and made it past the first boss, and everything just opened up. I started feeling things. Things like rightness. The game just felt right. It felt good to play. It felt like I was a real deal ninja. A very ambiguous ninja, but a ninja nonetheless. I don't even know if the protagonist is a male, female, human, or demon. What are you? Let's just go with a very dope ninja. Shinobi non grata was developed by a small company based out of Japan by the name of Pico Entertainment. They have this and one other game under their belt, which is a Switch exclusive I'll probably never get to play. The developers seem comfortable in this type of element. The whole presentation of it just looks like it was ripped right out of a Famicom cartridge. For lack of a better word, I would call the style NES-like, paying homage to the old ways, the 8-bit NES era, with modern technology. The protagonist of Shinobi non grata is Kaina, a ninja who is choosing to stand against the demon hordes. That's all I can really recall of the story. I'm not even sure if that's right. But just know that a game like this, you're staying for the gameplay and not the dialogue. And the gameplay is just right. Just right in the sense that it's not masterful, not mediocre, but just right. The sweet spot. It feels like the devs achieved what they set out to do. And what they set out to do is make a boss rush game under the guise of an action-adventure game. The focus is on big, beautiful, entertaining boss battles with short and sweet segue levels sprinkled in between. I took this as a good thing, because as many times as I lost while trying to learn the boss fights, I appreciated the brevity of the stages leading up to it. The brevity of each stage really made those walks of shame back up to the boss way more bearable. The sections prior to each boss battle are really just there to let the player flex a bit and show off what Kaina can do. And Kaina can do a lot. You have a dodge roll, a slash, crouch and up slash, double jump, and a dive. The movement really feels free-form, especially for something that's paying homage to the 8-bit era with the well-known movement limitations associated with that time. Along with the ninja-like movement, you are given 6 ninja weapons right from the start. They are a finite resource and are powered by energy received from enemies in random crates throughout the stages leading up to the bosses. This is where a strong Mega Man inspiration can be felt, because for each boss there's a sub-weapon that works almost too perfectly. Mix that in with the other combat arsenal and you get some fun and engaging gameplay. Sub-weapon transitions are smooth and fast. Cycling between the items with L1 and R1 really helps with the tempo of the stages. There's no advanced meta, unfortunately, such as dodge cancels or comboing into different weapons. Every attack and sub-weapon are independent of each other and can't be combined in quick succession. So essentially, this is another example of you get what you get, now make it work. Like I said earlier, this game is basically an undercover boss battle. There are so many interesting and well-designed bosses, from giant dragons in the first level to a floating half-naked mosquito lady. There's even a giant zombie shaman just dropping corpses on you as an attack pattern. There is so much healthy variety and even vibrancy in some of these battles that I didn't mind losing over and over until things clicked. The uniqueness in feel and design was well appreciated on my end. I honestly felt like a lot of care and attention was placed into each battle. None of them felt alike. So with Shinobi non grata paying homage to the 8-bit old ways, the difficulty from that era is present. It's present, but not overbearing. Every boss encounter has a ninja sub-weapon that works best, and every encounter has somewhat noticeable patterns. Is the game hard and challenging? Yes. But did I find myself getting too frustrated with it? It was more about my own understanding and tightening up of my own skills. Games like this, it's all about keeping your nerves in check, so the average gamer can get through this with enough practice and patience. The more experienced gamer will enjoy the enemy patterns and battle mechanics while flying through the game. Shinobi non grata, or again, for the culturally inclined, Shinobi not welcome, is definitely worth knocking off anyone's backlog. There you have it, a few more games knocked clean off of the backlog. 3 games where the ninja is the main guy. Just 3 games out of thousands of ninja games out there. But for these 3, each game had its charm and strong enough pull to make me see it through to the end. If I had to choose between these 3 ninjas, then Shinobi non grata would be my top pick. I enjoyed it from beginning to end. Now while making this video, I purposely left out some additional info regarding the gameplay and additional mechanics for all 3 games. I did this because my goal is not to just knock games off of my backlog, but to also intrigue other gamers and put them onto some new and fun games. Hopefully enough was shown to pique interest or at least create a dialogue. So just to close things out, there are a lot more ninja games out there in my backlog and out in the wild that I'd likely like to play, beat, and talk about. So I'm going to stamp this video as Volume 1 and keep on exploring what's out there. As always, keep beating games, like, comment, and subscribe.